we're getting new Marauders for Warhammer the Old World. Now, this is actually very significant. It's very significant in a number of ways. Firstly, it's very significant because the old Marauder models have been around for a very, very long time. In fact, I can tell you the first time I saw an old Marauder model was when my brother pre-ordered the Warriors of Chaos release box set for Warhammer Fantasy, I think 5th or 6th edition back in the day. In fact, before we even get to that box set, before we even get to this article, I'm going to show you that box set. It'll take me a second to pick it up, so we'll do it. But this is what you this was the box set, right? So I'm not sure exactly when this came out, but it was definitely a long time ago, and it came with like a cool like banner guy and everything. And you got these 5 Chaos Metal Knights, 5 Marauder Horsemen. These guys were metal. Look at the Chaos Sport, man, brilliant. And then you got 60 Marauders. Was 60? 24 Marauders and 24 Warriors of Chaos. So not bad at all. And it was a cool box set, yeah. And these Marauders, so let me tell you when I saw these Marauders, I was 7 years old, maybe 8. The point is, it was about 25 years ago. It was about 25 years ago. I think it was around the year 2000. So they've been trucking for a long time, the old Marauder models. And funnily enough, they get a lot of hate. They get a lot of hate by people in the Warhammer community, but I really like them. And so them getting, I think the reason people don't like them is the lack of nipples. The lack of nipples. But yeah, to finish the story, yeah, my brother actually, he was so excited to see when he got this box for his birthday. He bought it. He bought it on mail order. He saved up all his birthday money. He bought it on mail order. And the day when it was meant to arrive, you've got to remember, this is all pre-internet, so you didn't know when things were going to turn up. Like every day for like a week, he would over the summer holidays, he would literally sit by the front door each morning, looking out the window to see if the mailman was going to turn up with his package, and because you could see the mailman coming down the road to our house. And so literally every day he waited, and it got to Saturday, like the last day that this thing was going to turn up because no post on Sundays. And he saw the mailman coming down the road with this giant box. And my brother literally in his like pajamas and dressing gown, like opened the door, ran down the street in his slippers, and like got the box off the postman and everything, and ran back into the house. And we were like, oh my God. And we were like, we opened it up, and yeah, it was great, man. It was so cool. And my brother still has all of these models to this day. He still has these old Chaos Warriors. He still swears by these ones being the best ones. I mean, they're not, but he still swears by them. Anyway, point is that the new Chaos Marauders being announced is a really big deal because the old Chaos Marauders have been literally around for more than 2 decades. So there's also another big reason why and we are going to get to the new Marauders in a moment. Don't worry, we are going to get to the new Marauders. There's also another big reason why I think the new Marauders are the fact that new Marauders have been announced is actually pretty important. And I think that is because we've had new Marauders relatively recently for Age of Sigmar. I'm pretty certain it's under the Slaves to Darkness guys. Is it the Dark Oath Raiders? Yeah. So we've had these guys come in before. And these, I really don't think these were that long ago. I mean, these are in the last 3 years. And the reason I know that is because they came out when I was doing this thing, live streaming and content creation full time. And, and I've only been doing that the last 3 years. So these guys came out very, relatively recently. And so the fact that they came out for Age of Sigmar, and the fact that we've had essentially a new kit for Marauders come out, and then we've had another new kit for Marauders comes out. I think this speaks volumes. I think it speaks volumes for the separation of games. Games Workshop is now in the habit of releasing the same kit multiple times for different game systems, which does not seem the most efficient thing, but this is not a GW rant video today, so we're not going to get on that. And I think also it shows, but I think also it shows actually, let's talk about this in a positive light, right? I think it actually shows that Games Workshop has a good understanding of what each community wants, because I am sure that there will be some people that love these Dark Oath Raiders. And I look at them, and I definitely think there's some really cool models in here. You've got this guy that looks like he's from Conan the Barbarian, badass, all that kind of dramas. But I also know there are going to be some people that don't like these models. Some of them, you're always going to get people being like, they don't want female models in the game. Personally, that doesn't bother me. I'm neither for nor against it. It's just not a factor to me, okay? Some people it is, some people it isn't. But for me, I'm actually going to leave the whole like female thing to one side, because I don't actually think that's a very constructive criticism. For me, I actually don't like these models. And the reason I don't like them is I don't like a lot of the like poses that they've gone for them. They look like they're in like action poses, right? They're all in like action poses. They're not in like from like a Warhammer like old world thing. You want models that look like they're going to rank up well, that they're going to be fighting in like Linehammer. And, frankly, these models don't look like they would be ranking up very well. I mean, I can imagine this shield is going to be bumping into the back of other models and that kind of stuff. This big axe is going to be catching on stuff, on this bird's axe and all this kind of stuff. Things are going to be getting in the way of each other, and they just don't really rank up. And I think they're a different aesthetic as well. They're the Age of Sigmar aesthetic. So they're more high fantasy, and this might sound kind of stupid, because there's a dude here holding 3 severed heads, but they're dark, but it's like Age of Sigmar kind of like dark, and there's still an element of high fantasy to them, and there's still, rather than gothic fantasy, and there's still an element of sort of Saturday morning cartoon villain, I should say. So I think that the Age of Sigmar models are fine for Age of Sigmar, but I just don't think they really worked for Warhammer the Old World. And I know that this is not just a sentiment held by myself, but I know this is a sentiment that's held by quite a few Chaos players. And in fact, one of my number one Old World opponents, and someone I would consider one of my best friends, is Wargamer Alex. You've seen him in loads of my battle reports over the years, and he doesn't have, the new Marauders came out, and he was like, they just don't fit with my Warhammer Old World army. So I think this actually shows a really good, from like I said, it's going to be a positive thing for Games Workshop. I actually don't see them releasing this second kit as a negative thing for us as the players, because even though whilst it might be inefficient for GW, it shows that Games Workshop knows that those Marauders, those Dark Oath Raiders, are not really fit for purpose, not really appropriate. They don't really get the vibe for Warhammer Old World. And as we know, Warhammer Old World is going from strength to strength, and is being very, very successful. More successful than I think GW expected, and more successful than I think many people in our community expected it to be. Although if I am allowed a moment of wanking myself off, I am going to say that I was one of the only people, one of the few content creators that said this was going to be big. You were going to watch it. It was going to become GW's second biggest game. It was going to be Heresy. It was going to be Age of Sigmar. And I said, it's going to be up there. as one of the big two. It's going to be equal to Warhammer 40k. And you know what? I think it's going to get there. I think Old World has the potential, as long as GW doesn't fuck with it, has the potential to become equal in strength to Warhammer 40k. That is the trajectory it is absolutely on. Anyway, these new Marauders are nothing but awesome, and I have nothing but praise for them. And I think that Games Workshop has done a fantastic job of this. And as people expect, people will be surprised to hear me say that, because people think I hate Warhammer these days, and I don't. I've always held the same policy. If Games Workshop does something good, I praise them. If Games Workshop does something bad, I lambast them. It's that simple. And so this is something that Games Workshop has done, which is good. So this is something they deserve praise. And I think it's really important you don't just mindlessly hate on Games Workshop, because then they have no incentive to try and be better. When they do something bad, you should criticize them. But when they do something good, you should absolutely be screaming that from the rooftops, because then that hopefully, they're a corpo, they may not fucking listen to us, but hopefully at least there's a chance that they go, okay, we actually didn't get shit on for once. This is something we should do more of this, right? You vote with your wallet both positively and negatively. If they do something bad, don't buy it. If they do something good, you should buy it. Hence why I don't buy Warhammer 40k at the moment, because I think they are the amount of stuff that they're ripping out of that game. I will not give them another penny until they reverse a lot of bad shit they've done there. But why I have spent a lot of money on Warhammer Old World, because I'm saying to Games Workshop, this is good. Do more of this. This is the direction your game should be going in, right? So let's get into this article now, and let's actually look at the not only the words, but also the pictures. So, bring chaos to the old world with a horde of rampaging marauders. Chaos casts a long shadow over the old world, and the northern coasts of the Empire are constantly under threat from marauders and barbarians from the frozen wastes beyond the seas. Many tribes gather there, worshipping aspects of chaos gods as totemic animals, carving out a brutal life in harsh environments and casting their eyes beyond the shores in jealousy. Yeah, I mean, Nausicaa is a tough place to grow up, and, we've got like, no one wants to live in Nausicaa. No one wants to live in Nausicaa. What would you rather do? Like shit in the woods and get eaten by like a chaos spawn, or live in the Empire and shit down a hole that some peasant will clean out for you? Do you know what I mean? Like, whether they pledge themselves to the bloodied hound, carrion crow, slithering serpent, or fell raptor, these tribes are unified in purpose. And as the Marauders of Chaos step foot abroad in a new campaign of terror, they have one promise: to burn the Westerland to ashes. So this is kind of interesting from a lore point of view. So I'm not going to read too much into this, but my understanding of Nausicaa is that the tribes fight each other as much as they raid into the Empire. So it's interesting when they say that they're unified, but I suspect that this is, as is always the case with Chaos, they're unified for now. So it's Chaos, right? At times, a great warlord can bring, the tribes together through sheer charisma and force of will, stop them from fighting each other. But that is only ever a temporary alliance. So I'm hoping that Games Workshop isn't like, Nausicaa is some unified nation. If they do that, that's shit. But I'm hoping they're unified right now, but not on a permanent basis. The armor-clad legions of Chaos Warriors are soon to be reinforced by a horde of marauders who style themselves in leathers and furs, lest their ferociousness be shackled by iron. The Chaos Marauder army reinforcement set is a way to add a shot of barbarian rage into your existing Warriors of Chaos army, or create an entirely new raiding party. It contains 50 new miniatures, a whopping 40 Chaos Marauders, and 10 Marauder Horsemen. Okay, again, just a little thing. I think it's just stylistic Warhammer community stuff, but I'm not going to completely dismiss it, because that would be cope. I don't think that the Marauders clad themselves in leathers and furs because they do not want their ferociousness to be shackled by iron. I think they clad themselves in leathers and furs because making good armor is really fucking difficult and you need proper blacksmiths and proper smithies. And Nausicaa has basically zero industrial base. And so the reason that not everyone goes around in fucking armor is because they don't have the capacity to produce armor on a large scale. Do you know what I mean? So this isn't, for me, I don't see this as it's a philosophical reason why they don't go for armor. I've never seen the Nausicaans being overly philosophical in that way. It's more of a case of, hey, we don't have good armor because it's really hard to make, and Nausicaa is basically a barren shithole in the nicest possible way. So we're going to go and raid the Empire, beat the shit out of their guys, and then we're going to loot their armor, and then we're going to come back and have it. So I'm kind of, again, there's a couple of little bits here that I'm reading this article for the first time, and I'm a bit like, I'm hoping this is just flavor text. I'm hoping this is just flavor text. Yeah. Market Balance. Something is definitely off with whoever they have writing these, like the Cathay one. Yeah. That Cathay article. Why is Cathay in the Empire? Not the way that they did. Anyway, Cathay invading the Empire. Yeah. So yeah, Mark, I agree. I'm hoping. I don't know, man. But it's not a GW rant video, and I do want to be hyped about this stuff. So I'm not going to be salty, but I am going to say this. The more that Corpo GW has started paying attention to Warhammer the Old World, the more that this kind of stuff that's kind of off and seems like it wasn't written by someone from the old world, but seems like it was written by someone from like the main studio, where it's all like flagrant language and not like grounded and based. The more it's popping up. Yeah. So anyway, but we're not going to worry about that. Like I said, I'm pretty certain it's just flavor text, but Warhammer community team, if on any, please understand, I'm not shitting on you needlessly. If by some miracle you watch this, it's not that the words you've used are bad. It's that Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer Old World is meant to be more grounded. Okay. This is, in some ways, this reads like an Age of Sigmar article. Okay. Like, oh, they do not want their ferociousness be shackled by iron. Fuck off. Like, that's not why they're not wearing armor. Okay. It's a little thing. We're not going to make a big deal out of it, but you need to be writing your articles in a grounded, gritty manner, not in a Age of Sigmar manner. We're not doing high fantasy. We're doing gothic fantasy. All right. Life in the frozen waves of Nausicaa is harsh. It takes people of a hardy stock not just to survive, but thrive. Constant battles rage between the tribes. Okay, I'm happy again now. Whose worship of the mercurial chaos gods and desire to expand their territories often leads them into conflicts that thin the herd further. Okay, so I love this. It's a little weird how they're like... no, it's not actually. So it was exactly what I suspected. They are unified for now, but normally they fight each other. Good. My vexometer, how vexed I'm feeling, it was going up. It's come down a bit now. And this is now the only beef I have. What remains are resilient, brutal warrior tribes whose leaders are influenced by the dark gods whispering in their ears. The peasant masses who live in Bretonnia and the Empire may not live in the lap of luxury, but I know what you're talking about. The Empire is the most civilized, most prosperous, most advanced nation in the old world, which rules the old world with no challenges. But these Marauders are on their way to ensure what little comfort they may have is stolen away from them. Okay. This brand new plastic kit brings these warrior tribes to life in the form of muscular barbarians clad in fabrics, belts, and chainmail. I mean, I'm not going to get into it a little bit, but you just said they're not shackled by iron. And then you said they're clad in chainmail. Come on, man. You said they're like unified, but now they're like fighting each other. look, I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it, but fucking hell, like it's a bit of a, you know, come on, let's get things, you know, let's get this, let's be, you know what I mean? Let's try and write an article that makes sense. Every mage has a choice of 2 heads, and their shields and hand weapons are interchangeable, so you'll be able to build a varied units. Okay. The vexometer went up a bit. It's coming way the fuck down. Every miniature has a choice of 2 heads, and their shields and hand weapons are interchangeable, so you'll be able to build varied units. That is such a big deal, man. Because I'm so fucking sick and tired of this model has to have this hand weapon. I think there's still going to be a degree of them being monoposed, but the fact that I could have this guy with this guy's pick, and you know, or this guy with this guy's axe, is good. I like it. I like it. It's good. Good job, GW. Good job. Nice. That's a very, very, very important design difference, and I would say improvement on the model kit. So yes. Fantastic. While the tone of chaos doesn't affect the outward appearance, some recognizable helmets and a range of trinkets and embellishments show how they worship the ruinous powers in their own ways. Yeah, so what's kind of cool about some of the... what I really like about the Marauder tribe lore is... what I really like about the Marauder tribe lore is that a lot of them don't realize they're worshipping chaos gods. They're just worshipping like local deities as far as they're concerned. And it's not actually until, because remember, Warhammer the Old World is the prequel to Warhammer Fantasy. It's not until Warhammer Fantasy, and when we unfortunately start getting more towards, well, with the Storm of Chaos, it was a thing, but it's more towards the end times when the Chaos tribes of Nausicaa have been fully subsumed by the Chaos gods. At this point in the timeline, you know, they are worshipping like Crom. I don't know if that's the exact. It might. I'm making that up, right? So they're worshipping Crom, which is like the local deity, but they don't actually realize they're worshipping Khorne, or they're worshipping like, you know, they worship like the three-eyed raven, not realizing that they're worshipping Tzeentch and stuff like that. So I really, and I like that. I think it actually almost like, what's kind of interesting about that is it links into real life history where you had Vikings Vikings from Scandinavia who would worship like Odin, and then you would have like Anglo-Saxons that would worship Wotan. And they did, and I'm not a history expert, but they essentially they were both in essence worshipping the same god, but obviously language, translations, local variants on the lore, all that kind of stuff, right? So I like that element of the Marauder tribes, how they're worshipping a god that they may not realize what it actually is, and it's like a local deity. They think it's like a local deity, but actually it's a bigger thing than that. Each set of 20 can be made into 2 units of 10, each with full command options, and you have enough weapon options to outfit your regiment with either hand weapons and shields, great weapons, or flails. So, pause. The fact that we can equip these guys with great weapons is a really, really big fucking deal, is amazing, and should be really, really credited. The current existing old as fuck Marauder kit can only build hand weapons and flails. And the Slaves to Darkness kit has a lot of people running around with like spears and stuff. And as we know, it's an Age of Sigmar kit, so everything can only be built like one way. So it's really, this kit seems to have god tier levels of flexibility, and I really, really, really like that. Look, it's probably going to be a bit fiddlier to build because it's, you know, new GW, but the fact that this kit, it's not like it only comes with hand weapons and shield, and then because if that happens, if these guys came out with just hand weapons and shields, you know what would happen. Next edition of Old World rolls around, and if it's not in the box, we don't make models for it. So everyone who built things with like great weapons and converted them would get shafted and fucked over. You know that, right? So the fact that this is essentially future-proofed for people's collections right now is great. Is actually great. And we know what, you know what? This kit is adding options over the old kit. It's not, it's the opposite of what Games Workshop normally does. In the past, what Games Workshop has done is they've released a datasheet which, let's say like they released a datasheet or a unit entry which could take like 3 different weapon options, but the box only came with like 2 of those weapon options. So when they updated the rules, rather than like, make a better kit or release an upgrade sprue, they did the lazy option and they were like, no, we're going to take things away from you, which then fucks over everyone who built things with the option that they just lost. So this is actually, this really, really needs to be praised. It really, really needs to be singled out. It really needs to be like hyped up. This is Games Workshop not taking things away, but releasing a kit that not only accommodates existing models like the old flail things, they're not going to get left. The old flail models, they're not going to get left behind. The old hand weapon guys, they're not going to get left behind. People who've converted their old models of great weapons, they're not going to get left behind. So it makes sure that existing players who have supported the faction up to this point aren't getting fucked over. And it means that new players that come into the game are getting all the same options that came before and aren't basically being jibbed like what sometimes happens. And it future-proofs the kit. 10 out of 10. Love this. Will praise it till the end of the earth. GW, this is the design philosophy you should be having. This is the element. This is the way you should be doing things. Supporting the people that have got you to this point and rewarding them with new models and that actually add things. 100%. Not fucking people's old collections over, but encouraging people to buy new models. I approve. Though Marauders' lot in life is largely a miserable one, the ruinous powers don't go so far as to demand their servants footslog everywhere, and the warrior tribes are well practiced in raising powerful, if ill-tempered, steeds that they ride into battle. Marauder horsemen are often the first wave of offense. I love that. Rather than the first line of defense, it's the first wave of offense. When the tribes find their foe crashing headlong into the enemy ranks with heavy spears and flails. Nice. And again, these models do a good job of, I mean, they're just a big improvement, man. They're a big improvement. The old Marauder horsemen, you know what? I don't mind the older Marauder horsemen, but, they are a little dated. The old Marauders look like something straight out of Conan the Barbarian. They really, really do. It's with the helmets and stuff. Yeah, they really do. The set of 10 Marauder horsemen in this box can be built as 2 units of 5, each with their own command group or champion, musician, standard bearer. Just like the regular Marauders, they sneer at from atop the powerful steeds. Each horseman has a choice of 2 heads. That's interesting. I think the 2 heads are actually pretty. I think you can see all the head options between these 2 things, which is pretty good. I mean, yeah, they just look like they just look right. They just look right. We're going to zoom in the picture at the moment, but yeah, this is great. The box also contains 2 new Warriors of Chaos transfer sheets, each one containing 246 decals that cover the iconography of the Norse tribes, as well as the whole section of runes to decorate your miniatures with. The new miniatures mean new unit profiles, and they arrive courtesy of a new 48-page arcane journal. So this actually. Vexometer rising. But we already have Marauder Horsemen rules in the Forces of, not Forces of Fantasy, the Ravening Hordes book. We already have Marauder infantry rules in the Ravening Hordes book. These additional Marauder models should be covered by the Wolves of by the Chaos Arcane Journal and the Wolves of the Sea. So what are these new unit profiles going to be? I'm not against new unit profiles, but I am going to be very terribly vexed if by some amazing coincidence, the Marauders in this book happen to be better than the Marauders in the previous two books. Because at that point, you're literally trying to compel people to buy the book to make the units they already have. Like, it's just shady. But I will reserve judgment. Probably allows them to work better with marks. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not throwing out the toys from the pram yet. I'm just being wary. All right. Alongside rules for your Marauders, this new softback supplement goes into detail about the warrior tribes of Norsca, the 4 primordial spirits and how they worship them, and Frydal, the Chainmaker's invasion of the Westerland. New rules for the 4 cults of chaos, chaotic traits, a law of Shadowlands, plus new artifacts to Shadowlands, because you everything you need to represent a ferocious arbitrage and throughout of the chaos gods. Fine. Okay, right. This is going to be hype as fuck. I'm going to come back to this in a moment. I am a little... The reason I'm feeling a little vexed is because, well, what the fuck was the point in the Wolves of the Sea? If this is just going to be better Wolves of the Sea, you know, I am going to be a little vexed, but I think overall it'll be okay. I think overall it's going to be okay. I'll kind of be okay if Wolves of the Sea and this can work well together. Like, okay, I will, you know what? I'll totally be okay with this if this enhances Wolves of the Sea rather than replaces it. Okay? If this can enhance it, a bit like how the mercenary companies can enhance how Empire works and how the Border Princes and stuff and Praetorian Exiles work. Yeah. All right. If this is enhancing existing stuff, so it's like, oh look, hey look, you were like a Wolves of the Sea player. Well, guess what? All of the good shit that you had in Wolves of the Sea, we're now like we're going more on that. Here's like a whole like the Raising Westland for you. I'm like, yes, sweet, totally awesome. Wolves of the Sea is awesome. Very, very cool. If this is something I can add to Wolves of the Sea, I love it. Yeah. That I am choosing to believe that this is going to be an enhancement of existing Wolves of the Sea armies. If that is the case, that's awesome. Really, really good. And I like it. So that until otherwise, that's what I think this is doing. Yeah. That's what I think that's what this is doing, because if you look at how the Wrath of Cetra, the War of Cetra's Fury, has enhanced Bretonnian exiles with the mercenary companies, and how it's enhanced Empire with the mercenary companies, I think this is going to do the same thing. It's going to be an enhancement. Okay, so yes, Vexometer coming down. Blind hatred for GW has not been. We have not submitted to it. We have resisted the blind hatred. We have looked at this objectively, and I think we've come to the right Conclusion. Finally, and now, but we'll see. But finally, a Path to Glory campaign lets you take a 5-point army on the warpath, growing them in size and strength as you play, accompanied by 3 new scenarios themed around the Marauders. You'll need Arcane Journal, the Wolves' Fury for the campaign, and the 3 Battle March size scenarios, and Ravening Hordes for the main Warriors of Chaos rules. With Chaos rampaging abroad, make sure you keep up to date on the latest happenings in the old world by checking on the Warhammer community in the coming months. Right, so firstly, Path to Glory coming back in this format. My penis cannot get more erect. Path to Glory is fucking awesome. This is actually different to how it was back in the day. This is actually Path to Glory Path to Glory was essentially the original kill team, the very original kill team, and it was in a White Dwarf article, and you can still find it. And that was more like mod, that's like squad based. But I am absolutely on board with the idea of Path to Glory. Like I'm going to tell you, depending on how they do this, I will absolutely run a Path to Glory campaign on my channel, where if I can find some willing people to get involved in it, where basically we'll need 4 players, including myself. Each person will need to pick a tribe and dedicate it to a god. So we'll have like a Khorne tribe, a Tzeentch tribe, a Sinesh tribe, and a Nurgle tribe. Obviously, I'll go Nurgle.
Everyone fights.
Have basically like a mini campaign where everyone sort of fights each other a couple of times, and then we do like a big blowout battle at the end, like big 4-way like blowout battle or something, and see who can claim the Path to Glory. Yes. And maybe we'll have... Nah, fuck that. No one's going undivided, Mad Larkin. No one's a fucking little bitch, boy. Fucking commit. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's definitely something I would run. But I'm going to wait to see how the rules work. But, hey, if there's 3 scenarios here... and 3 scenarios from the Arcane Journal, the War of Settra's Fury... That gives us 6 scenarios to like build up and develop armies and gain size and strength and loot and all that kind of stuff. Then yes, that will be cool, and I will love that, and we will have a proper narrative path to fucking glory situation. So I really like that. There is gonna be some people that go, oh my god, I need to buy like 3 fucking books to do this. The raising Westerland, and then the Wolves of Fury, and then Ravening Hordes. I don't really see that as a massive negative. I understand, but I never. You know what? You know what? I never had an issue with having multiple books when I played Warhammer 40k in previous editions. And all I can say is this endless drive for like, oh, we don't want blow, and this endless drive of like simplification for Warhammer 40k has been a fucking nightmare. So you know what? Bring back the fucking school satchel of books, like the backpack full of books you had to lug around. Like, bring that fucking back. Okay, I have no issue with it in any way, shape, or form. I will happily lug around a backpack with 3 or 4 fucking books in it, if it means that I get to have fucking flavor, depth, complexity, good complexity, not convolution, and crunch in my rules. Okay, I really, really, really don't mind that. I have no issue with the Arcane Journal system, and I would rather have this. As crazy as it sounds, I would rather have this than the fucking slop that we end up with in fucking 40k. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I would rather have this every day of the week. And these won't be perfect. There will be problems with them, but personal thing here, I would rather have this every day of the week. I actually think it's one of the best things about Horse House 3.0, and there's a lot about that game I don't like. But I think it's one of the best things about Horse House 3.0 is the fact that the sort of journals that they're coming out with are great. The problem with Horse House 3.0 is they did it the wrong way, where they ripped content out of the main game only to sell it back to you later as DLC, Whereas with Warhammer the Old World, they released the full, complete main game. And then they're basically, you want to think of arcane journals as like war bonds from Helldivers. No one has an issue with war bonds from Helldivers. You never need to buy a fucking war bond. You never do. If you just have the core rules and the relevant Forces of Fantasy or Ravening Hordes book, if you just have that, you never ever need to pick up an arcane journal ever. You never need that. You can play and access all of Warhammer the Old World with basically the core game. And this is paid DLC, but these are war bonds. These are Helldivers war bonds, and I am totally okay with that system. Release a full core game and then add shit onto it. Do it in a fun, flavorful way, which doesn't fucking break the game. Yes, yes, yes. So this gets lots and lots of thumbs up from me, and I applaud this approach. And now, for a few minutes, does that cover? Let me close some of these tabs here. That covers everything. Cool. For a few minutes, let us gush over the new models. And we'll even gush over the new fucking book art, man. And all the pictures. Yeah, these Marauders are great, aren't they? Really solid. I'm wondering what these things are. Like, you see a few of them have got them like... They're not top knots. They're not horns, are they? Because no, that looks like a horn. It looks like some sort of... I mean, it looks like a big ponytail or something. But I don't think it is. Yeah. I'm not sure what that... I don't like, this guy's got one here. This guy's got one here. And this guy's got one here. Mammoth Tusk? It could be Mammoth Tusk. Could it be like Mammoth Tusk armor? And the idea is that, like, if someone like strikes down from above, you can like lean into it and like it's like it bounces off like the Mammoth Tusk kind of thing. Maybe it's Mammoth Tusk armor. Yeah. I really like the look of this guy. This guy right here. Do you guys remember Game of Thrones before it was shit, right? And that guy that worked for the Boltons and the guy who cut Jaime's hand off, and he had like, this guy reminds me of the Jaime hand cutter offer guy. Yeah. But yeah, I really, really like these models. I think they really just feel like the old Marauders remastered. Yeah. They look like this guy. I believe he's in charge. Like, just think about this. I believe this guy is in charge. He's not in some stupid, goofy action pose. He is absolutely he has the right vibe. Yeah. I believe this guy. He's bigger. He's badder. He's got the helmet. He's got the thicker furs. He's got the better chainmail. Yeah, I believe this guy's in charge. Yeah. This is immersive. Yeah. That is immersive. Oh man, I love these. So what I love about these models is not only are they like grounded, but they also still don't take themselves too seriously. They still have that sort of look. They look practical, but there's some like silly bits about them. Like I love this helmet here. Like the fucking 4 eye holes and the random 2 like big horns coming off it. Yeah, man. Yeah. Look, these guys are fantasy Vikings. They should have horns on the helmets. I don't think Vikings ever really did have horns on the helmets. It's definitely something that's came out like popular media and stuff. But if you're going to have fantasy Vikings, your fantasy Vikings should be having horns on the helmets. Yeah. I love this helmet here as well. I like there is a mixture of like helmeted guys and unhelmeted guys. Some with the I like they've kept some of the traditional top knots, because the top knots were a bit ridiculous, but I like that they've kept them. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Some with beards, some clean shaven. Yeah, they've just knocked it out of the park with these models. Look, the Warhammer community article might have been written a bit a bit rubbish in a few places, but honestly, at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? That doesn't really mean anything. It's just a fucking fluff piece. What matters is the Arcane Journal good? And are the models sick as fuck? And the models are sick, and the Arcane Journal looks like it's going to be good. So, yes, this is legit. I like it. Again, these guys just feel like the models feel like they belong in the old world. You know? Like, not everyone's, like, chaosed up, but there's still some chaos. Like, this guy's a bit further down the path, you know? This guy's a little bit further down the path. He may not realize it. People might just think he's particularly religious, he's particularly pious, but he's a little bit further down the path than the others, you know. He's a little bit more, you know, the whispers, he may be a few more whispers in his mind than some of the others. Yeah. This guy, look at this fucking dude. The guy looks like a weapon. The guy looks like a weapon. Yeah. And I like the artwork. It's not my favorite style of art. I still, my favorite style of art is Warhammer Fantasy 6th edition for, Warhammer Old War / Warhammer Fantasy. But it's fine. It's still good. And it still looks good, and art is subjective, and there are different artistic styles and everything. And this is and to be fair, they have been very consistent with the art styles, with the Arcane Journals. It looks like a tapestry. It looks like an oil painting, and the old style looked like it was trying to almost be like a photograph kind of thing. So it's not, what I like about it is it isn't like abstract like modern art bollocks. It's art which is very specifically designed to be in a certain way. It's trying to emulate like an oil painting, like tapestry, that kind of stuff. Something old timey. So I like it. I prefer another art style, but I like this and I can respect it. Yeah. And then we've got the action shot. Yeah, man. Getting real, if Theodom was evil, I'm getting real like, reform the line. Reform the line. We take them head on. Reform the line. Yeah. Also, it might just be an action shot, or it might be a little sneak preview of what to expect. But have you noticed the formations these guys are in? They're not 5 across. They're in a reverse Bretonnian lance. Look at that. 3x2, 3x2. Now, it could mean nothing. It could mean nothing. But it could mean something. The reverse Bretonnian lance. It's not the lance formation. It's something else. So, overall, big fan. Big fan of the new Marauders. I'm not a massive fan of the article. Well, okay, that's a massive over-exaggeration. There's a few bits of the article that I think are a bit whatever. But by and large, if we cut out all of the fucking bollocks language, and we actually get to the grit, we cut out the fluff, we get to the crunch, this looks like it's going to be solid. This looks like an arcane journal that I'm going to pick up, and this looks like it might actually push me into getting a Chaos Army for Warhammer the Old World. Right now, in my mind, I think the best way, or the way I'm going to get into, my Warriors of Chaos is I'm going to basically buy like 2 or 3, I think 3 boxes, 3 specific boxes, and I'm going to show you exactly which ones those are. Let me just grab the relevant bits and bobs. Oh, look at that guy. He is cool. He is expensive, but he is cool. But yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is basically get a Warriors of Chaos battalion, because then I get the Chaos Knights and the big chunky units of Chaos Warriors and a couple of chariots, and then I'm gonna probably get this guy because he looks great, but this guy's a maybe. I'm absolutely going to get a Chaos Lord on a big fucking mount, though, 100%. Either this guy or a Guy and Dragon. And then I'm going to get the new box set. So I'll have like 40 Marauders, 32 Chaos Warriors, and 20 Cavalry, 10 light, 10 heavy. Yeah, I might not get this just because I think I'm not that bothered about the chariots. I'm not bothered about the chariots, but I do like the look of the Chaos Warriors. In fact, I'm just going to look at them right now. Maybe I just buy like 4 boxes of Chaos Warriors, actually. Maybe I just buy like 4 boxes of Chaos Warriors. My favorite loadout for the Chaos Warriors is the sword and board ones. Like, I'm not against the Warhammer ones, but they're a little static. But the sword and board ones, I think, look very, very, very legit. Yeah. Yeah, I love that guy's like helmet. It's cool as fuck. Yeah. Sword and board Chaos Warriors just feels so right. And I love that. Let me just look at that, man. I would love to paint them up as Khorne. And paint them like the ones from Warhammer Mark of Chaos. But I think I would go Nurgle, because I always end up with Nurgle, so I might as well just preempt it this time. And you know what I'd do? I'd paint them up using like... I'd paint them up as like... The green I would use would be Lanza Grey. I'd use Feldgrau for them. I think that would look proper. Yeah, I think that would look proper. Yeah. So I think having these guys alongside having these guys in like a big shield wall, like a big giant shield. How I'd probably do it is I'd like these guys in like one big unit, like 32, not messing around. And then I'd have 2 units of Marauders on either side, 2 20-man blocks of Marauders on either side. To represent, like, you've got the Huskarls in the center and then like the Feared on the side. And then I'd have like a big smashy block of Chaos Knights, led by, big Chungus here. And then I'd probably have this guy flying around and my Marauders flying around. Marauder Horsemen on 2 units like of 5 like Marauder Horsemen, something like that. Yeah. Why not use the new Warriors on square bases? Oh, you mean like the Age of Sigmar ones? I just prefer these ones. I just like these ones. The Age of Sigmar ones, it's a great question. The Age of Sigmar ones don't quite fit on the bases very well. Like these guys, they're really cool, don't get me wrong, and they're like super dynamic and all that shit. But the problem is the capes. So my mate Alex Wargame, I'm mentioning him again, he has a bunch of these, and don't get me wrong, they look fantastic, but you have to chop a lot of the capes and stuff off. so that they will rank up properly. Also, there's 10 of these guys for £40, or I can get 32 of these ones for only £14 more. So I think I'll go for these ones. Yeah. So there you go. All right, there we are. But what do you guys think of the new Marauders? I think overall people have been pretty positive about them. I think they've been pretty positive. And the fact that you can basically go 1 Chaos Warriors battalion, 1 Marauder battalion, done. And you'll have like 3,000 points of like Warriors of Chaos. I think that's great. Yeah, mate. Yeah, the fact that you can basically just be like, I'm gonna buy 2 battalions and a character on a monster, and be like, yep, I now have a really well-rounded Warriors of Chaos army with heavy infantry, light infantry, heavy cavalry, light cavalry, and a big monster. Yep. Jenny Brats, all comes down to price. I imagine that each battalion will be 115 quid, and then you get the guy on mount. Yeah, I imagine you'd probably look at about 270 quid for the army. Warriors of Chaos is ridiculously cheap to collect in comparison to like Warhammer 40k. In fact, I think the Warriors of Chaos battalion is 2,000 points, but it's not the best 2,000 point army. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah, cool. Right. We've got a few super chats to catch up on, and then we are going to bed. Savaloy, thank you for the gift of membership, man. Thank you for your support. Thank you for doing your part. Big shout out to Briars and Phantoms. Thank you for the 10 gift of membership, baby. Yes, the 10 extra squigs, the 10 extra total core. Yes, thank you, mate, for your support, man. Absolute fucking hero. And a big shout out to Cosmic Drew. Thank you for the super chat. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.